Hello world, welcome back to FlowState. How is your week going? Fuck that intro up. Anyways, we flow, baby. That's what we do here. So let's start that over. Welcome to FlowState. So walking down to the Atlantic Ocean, we are talking about aligned goals this afternoon. It's a little later than I normally go, and the sun may be not ideal, but nonetheless, we persevere. Aligned goals, that's what this week is all about. If you subscribe to the FlowState newsletter, you will be reading an article going deep into aligned action, setting goals based on all of the previous coursework that we are rolling through every 12 weeks. The growth blueprint, that's what it's all about. That is the curriculum, the foundation for everything that we talk about on this channel. And in the coaching framework, in our community, it's the guiding principle framework for taking meaningful action that is in alignment with your core values, making sure that you are tapping into vitality and everything else that we talk about to be able to amplify the human experience for you and the world. It's an incredible privilege to be dialed in and firing on all cylinders all the time, and to be connecting with other humans and empowering them. Elevating the human experience is a privilege, and you know that when you are dialed in, when you're getting your sleep, your training, your nutrition, you are grounding yourself in your core values work, you have a clear understanding of the leverageable asset that is time management, as we talked about last week. You're focused on creating a growth-oriented mindset. You're anti-fragile in your identity, and you are locked into your long-term vision of where you are going in life. That is a powerful and palpable framework to be channeling in your existence, wherever you are living, whatever your life situation is, whether you have all the money in the world, none, whether you're struggling, whatever. It is all our own responsibility to leverage what is inside of us and channel the unknown as a vessel for opportunity, for being calm, for being grounded, for being in service to others, loving people wholly, and being in a position to receive love as well. All of these things we go deep on, and today's week topic, which we launch on Sunday with the FlowState newsletter, the podcast, the explainer video, where we dive deep into specific subjects that we talk about all week, culminating on Thursday. Every Thursday, we go live inside the community for training and group coaching. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do so if you find value, and join our community using the show notes below. Just sign up, it's free for now. So take advantage of this great opportunity. And if you join now, then you're locked in. So this is another reason to not delay, to not procrastinate on yourself, and choose you over indulgences, over delayed progress. Take advantage of it now, do the thing, empower yourself, and create momentum within. And this is an interesting topic because momentum is something that we generate within us. It's something that is just as much about a mindset as it is about the extrinsic factors that we are using to, let's say, prove momentum in our life. So what I mean by that is, let's say let's just use a construction project as an example, where you're building a rock wall around a flower bed or something, you know? And it's like, first you have to think about the idea, there's ideation that goes into it, then there's some structural considerations, then you need to source materials, and every step of the way, up until you quote unquote break ground with a shovel or whatever the tool is that you're using, could be more substantial, could be a fucking giant wall like this. It doesn't matter. every stepping stone in itself is creating momentum within us, and it's being proven by our efforts. So it's not just about, hola amigo, it's not just about conceptual ideas, it's about taking action to create that energy, to create that power. You are your own power plant. It's something that we've talked about here, and I will continue to talk about, because you have the capacity to either be fully activated in your power, in your presence, or to be depleted by not listening to your body, its needs, getting your nutrition in, getting your training in, making sure that you are recovering appropriately. It's not a laziness thing. It's about being intentional with your actions to support what it is that you need from yourself. This is, I think, something that most people don't give a lot of presence of mind and conscious thinking about what it means to recharge our body. And without the adequate energy, which is why vitality is the foundation of the growth blueprint, and to take an idea such as relaxation, okay? It's not an excuse for not doing the things that we need to do, but it is also an opportunity to not succumb to burnout, not to succumb to overwhelm, not to succumb to all kinds of external factors that really have a massive impact on our daily life. It's really profound. And when we are living in it, when we are operating from a place of clarity, we reduce overwhelm, we reduce anxiety, we reduce stress. And all this to say is a gateway into creating and aligning with meaningful goals that resonate deeply inside you, things that are important. If you think about the last time you accomplished something that you had set a goal to, for example, and it was a success, it was something that really you resonated deeply with, it's not by accident that that happened, that it was a successful outcome. It was because you gave a fuck. You gave a fuck so profoundly that you were willing to do anything to achieve that goal. And that's the kind of clarity we're talking about here. The momentum, the resilience that builds within us, that creates this power that we have to leverage and be mindful of. It's not something that is, let's say, so it's interesting because it is illusory, this idea of momentum as it relates to goal setting and clarity. When we lose sight of our founding, our grounding, I should say, it's so easy to get overwhelmed. And even something that we think we want, whatever that goal is, it really needs that grounding force so that we are not relying on our emotional state to be able to have the motivation to continue when things get challenging. Inevitably, things are going to get challenging. Inevitably, you're going to be confronted with some form of resistance that, it could make or break you. But when you are stacking and compounding on systems that you know are proven to work because you've done the work, you've got clarity every step of the way, you're now not dealing with this idea of motivation. You're dealing with something much more powerful. It's so deeply in you that you have absolute clarity over what actions need to be taken. Now, it's not to say that you won't come up with, or you won't be presented with situations that will challenge you, that will, let's say, test your own knowledge base or skill set, but at least you have the grounding force to know that you're on the right path and that the goal itself is something that you believe in, that you're attached to, not the outcome per se, but the process. And I think that's the biggest difference between sinking your teeth into aligned goals and goals that are a little bit more superficial in nature. And I think the process of getting clarity while we're aligning our goals to our values is really important, because it is the motive behind motivation that then removes any prerequisite of emotional standing. Meaning, like, I don't have to feel good in order to know that I'm going to be working on the goal today, because it's so ingrained within me. And it also means choosing less with everything, reducing. That is a power move, if there were ever any. Saying no to other things that are in direct competition to you achieving your goals is required to stay the course. It's required so that you feel the pull of what it means to be truly aligned with that goal. And the outcome is a reflection of how much clarity you had while establishing what it is that you actually want. And this goal could be anything that you choose in your life, right? It doesn't have to be this massive, grandiose thing. It could just be, I want to finish the month with a greater sense of clarity and focus than I started the month with. And you could have longer term goals that could be health and wellness related. They could be family goals. They could be business oriented goals. Whatever the case is, getting clarity as a stepping stone to being able to ensure that every action you take is in alignment with achieving that goal is instrumental. Without clarity, without focus, without this kind of, let's say, larger than life attachment to what it is that you want, and what it is that you are required to do to get there, without that clarity, it's going to be a rocky road, man. It's going to be a little challenging. 12 minutes. Okay, so it's a little bit longer. Sorry, I was just counting how long it takes to get down here from the house. So, oh fuck, I love this place so much. So, it's not enough to just have an idea and say that you want to execute it. First, we need to know why. We need to know what it is about you achieving that goal that resonates with you. What is the effect of the outcome of you achieving this goal? Is it you in some way? Is it someone else? What is the underlying force behind you establishing this goal for yourself? This is an important question to answer. You need clarity at every step of the way. The lack of clarity in life is the causation to feeling overwhelmed, feeling like you are just grinding away with no real aligned purpose. It's crazy how fast things can shift. It's crazy how important the focus is on keeping that clarity for yourself. Because, again, I think it's an overlooked aspect of goal setting. Why are you doing the thing? What is it? What motivation, right, are you attaching the outcome to? Is it, again, financial, health? And then who wins? Whoa. Who wins? Are you doing it for you, or are you doing it for someone else? Whoa, fuck. Spider here, hold on. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Rock and roll. Just catch up my brain to my words here. Low tide. Absolutely amazing. So, where was I? Let me just catch my brain up to that intense little monologue there. There is definitely a moment in every episode where I come down here that I just need to focus on not falling and injuring myself, because this is potentially very problematic. I also love the light this time of day. Should go play on these rocks down here. It's a little windy. I hope the sound is okay. Whoa, 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 whoa. Maybe we go this way. All right, sorry, this is kind of dead air here, just figuring shit out as we go. And that is the nature of flow state. Feel free to skip forward the chapters in the progress bar. Oh, that is also something that's new to flow state, is that I have been including chapters for the very reason that the concept of each episode is that it's dynamic and a little non-linear in a way. That's just the nature of this kind of flow. So the chapters really make it easy for you, and I do my best to create titles that make sense when we talk about things that are relevant to personal development and not just me trying not to die down a cliff. That's the mountain we just walked down. Crazy. So I know this is going to sound wild, but in this moment right now where I'm standing, I may not talk about goals. Maybe we talk about something else. This is highly irregular now. Shifting strategies. Just going with it. Kind of want to go swimming, to be honest. Wouldn't make for very actionable content, though. No, come on. We need to talk about goals. We need to talk about aligning our actions with our intent. So, what is a tool that we can use when figuring out our goals and whether the goal is right for us. I spoke earlier about clarity and the lack of clarity and the impact that that has on our well-being, our mind. Self-determination theory is a really interesting concept. And one that I think will serve you well in deepening your understanding of aligned action. Our minds are absolutely incredible at either amplifying the control that we have within, or allowing ourselves to be distracted by superfluous inputs that trigger us in one way or another. And I'm not talking about like exclusively negative triggers. It's just something happens and then we get just nudged a little bit off course. I mean, this could be an environmental shift in your workplace. Let's say there's a new person that joined the team and for whatever reason, they just, like their energy isn't quite in alignment with yours. And so because of that, it creates this tension. And if we're not grounded in our practice, we can so easily be nudged off course. And this is true with all aspects of life, but especially when we're working towards something that we have determined that is meaningful to us. And this idea of self-determination really creates space and clarity. Again, going back to clarity, always going back to clarity, focusing on the thing that we really want. What is the thing? What is the outcome? The process? Are we focused too much on one thing, or are we looking at it from a macro perspective where we are considering all variables and are also thinking about the granular aspects of achieving those goals? How are we feeling in those moments? Are we channeling power towards achieving that goal? Or are we battling some form of resistance that has been within us the entire time because the goal itself was really something that wasn't that important to us, but we just chose that goal at the beginning based on other factors that we thought were important, but then as you moved down the path, you realize that in fact you don't have that level of importance anymore. So think of it this way. If you come from a family of doctors, lawyers, doctors, whatever, and let's say you are being strongly encouraged to pursue a career as a doctor and just replace doctor with anything, military, lawyer, police, whatever. And so if you think about the pre-programming that is within all of us with regards to our family, especially, society as a whole and all of that, and the power of influence our parents have over us as children is so profound, and it's subliminal and also very direct. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It's something that I think we all contend with. And you see this a lot with children who rebel against their parents. Maybe that was you. Maybe that, I think that is in all of us, at a certain point. It's about seeding your place, finding and discovering who it is that you are as a human, and your biology doing its thing, especially when you're going through puberty and you're kind of like, you're forcing your energy, your will out from within. And that may not be in alignment with the vision your parents have for you, because there's obviously a vision there. It wasn't just an afterthought of like, how do I want my child to grow up? I think even if people don't put a lot of thought into it, there is a desire that comes from within to have your children represent you in a way. And so because of that, just innate kind of like desire to see your child represent you, whether they are choosing that language or not, whether they're expressing it or not, I think it's still there. I think it's really a powerful thing, because, and I know this as a parent, I think it's interesting to think about this in just real time now. Again, the whole basis of this podcast is really, it's fully unscripted. Sometimes it's absolute gibberish, dead air. Other times I'm talking eloquently about something, and then other times I struggle to string two words together. And that's just fucking reality, man. That is as authentic as it gets in real time without any editing. I'm not interested in sugarcoating anything. This is me just talking to you wherever it is that you're dropping in from. And, it's like I set out to talk about aligned action today because that is the purpose of our week. And there was obviously reference to that earlier, and there will be more because it's such an important topic. And again, the topic is the basis for my content rhythm every week. So I'm really focused on the subject matter. But with FlowState, I really do have this broader vision of just capturing a raw moment that is really about channeling an expression of myself. And whether that lands or not is not really the point. It's the process that I'm engaged in to be able to create insight into my own life, to be able to mirror back to you in a way, but it's me because I can't see you and I don't know you. But hopefully we can connect, and I would love for you to drop a comment, let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you have any questions or you have struggles that you're going through, this is the work that I do, and I'm so passionate about it. And the 9 years of development that it took me to get from where I was to where I am today is profound, and experience is unmatched. You can read all the books you want, but until you go and live it, until you experience the struggles, doing the thing, celebrate the wins, until you have kids, you don't know what it is to have a child, It's just like there's no comparison, It's like trying to explain to someone what it's like to go to Burning Man. It's complicated, and you should go. It's like that's the easiest way to do it. So just to go back to this idea of seeing this essence of programming and how much it has influenced all of us, because whether you had parents, you have parents, but whether they were present in your life or not, there were still people that supported you in one form or another when you grew up, right? You may be in a tough situation, foster care, or whatever. There were people that were older than you and maybe even younger than you that took care of you during your formative years. And their impact on your life created, in essence, a worldview that we all held on to up until we broke free from that. And I really feel as though there's a point in adolescence where we are essentially submissive to the hierarchy, the adults, and then your hormones take over and you're just like, fuck you. Maybe it's not so aggressive, maybe it's more subliminal, but it's all there. It's all a rebellion against the things that were or are important to those people. And so in the context of setting aligned goals and clarity, I really feel as though so many people choose things in their life that they think are important to them. But in reality, they were not as important to them as they were to the parent, to the parental figure in their life. And then what ends up happening for some people is that they go through what they think is the aligned action, the process. So like I said about, military or physician, lawyer, plumber, whatever it is, like you come from, your parents were this, their grandparents were this, and it's so difficult to break the cycle because you have all of this imprinting in your childhood and a belief structure that is really propagated by your parents and possibly even a generation or two or more before, and you don't really have much say in the matter. You don't really have much to stand on in terms of like, I'm fighting against the hierarchy to be a poet or something. And I think there's a lot of families out there that support this kind of stuff, but it really needs to be led by the child in that moment. And it needs to be coming from a place of resilience, because that resistance, that, let's say, misalignment of identity as it relates to how the parents see the child and 20 years into the future, or, it's like the father played football for that team and now he wants the son to play football for that team, and the son is like, I like it, but I don't know if it's for me, but I'm doing it to make my dad happy or whatever, or it even goes more heavy and more intense, And so you just don't want to find yourself 30 years in, waking up one day and being like, oh fuck, I don't want to be a lawyer. Or, oh fuck, what have I done with my life? I just hate what I do. And I will say this, you're better off 30 years down the road saying it than continuing on and just never seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. It's so corrosive to not express yourself authentically and just to be holding back when something is not right within, It took me a long time to figure this out as well. I mean, I was there. I was in that position where there were so many expectations of me, or at least the feeling of it, and the inability for me to course correct young enough in my career until I did. And it's never too late to pivot. It's too late when you on your deathbed thinking about all the regrets. And it's about leveraging the lessons of those individuals that exist that are so profoundly wise. And it's a scary fucking thing to be 30 years into something and then to choose, you know what, this is not for me. This is no longer what I thought I wanted. And you may have financial obligations, you may have people that are counting on you to support them, you know, and I think not leaning into that risk is so detrimental to your well-being. And we're talking about you as an individual, okay? And it's very possible that you've been walking around with the weight of the world on your shoulders and not fully understanding why or what that weight is. And the work we do in the Growth Blueprint and the one-on-one coaching is all about exposing that for you. Your life, the actions that you could have taken or should take today to course correct. It's never too late to take action. In fact, it is your responsibility to yourself to ensure that you are doing what's best for you, not for anyone else. Because the issue is that if you misalign your goals with yourself, you end up in that 30-year spot where you have committed 30 years. And I just use this as a intense number because it is 30 years, fucking 3 decades. That is a long fucking time to be doing something you don't want to be doing. And you got one shot at this fucking life, my man. You got one shot. This is it. So it's like, why give it up for anyone else other than your own desire to live in alignment with what you want? It's scary because you need money to live. You may have a family. It's a lot easier to do this when you're young. You have no responsibility. And you know, it's like, there's so much pressure as a whole in society to go through your youthful education, not university, but also, sorry. This subject, I think, is so wild to me because there is, okay, so at least in the US and in many Western societies, you are born, your parents are working, you go to daycare, you go to, generalization here, you go to elementary school, primary school, secondary, high school, and then university, so quickly without really coming to terms with who and what the fuck you are. Like, you have no idea what you are, which is so hilarious to me when I see like 18-year-olds on TikTok with 9 billion views regurgitating some shit they read somewhere but never lived it and passing it off as life experience. And, you know, this is coming from a 42-year-old human who has been through some shit, and that life experience is not something that you can just exchange for some knowledge from a textbook or this quote card that you saw or what you think reality is. It's like, there's that cliche of like, those that can't do teach, because if they could do it, they would do it. And you know, that's again a generalization. Obviously there are very passionate educators that love teaching a subject matter and that are experts in their respective fields, and they've invested in themselves because they absolutely love education. And at the end of the day, though, it's still theory, unless you go out in the world and do it and prove that you can do it and do the thing that you say works or that doesn't work. And of course, there's outliers and everything, but there's so much pressure as a whole to get through your education system, niche down to a hyper specialty, and then go get a job, and then go get married, fuck a whole lot, have kids, pay the bank rent, and you quote unquote fake own a house, you know, which is also a funny thing. It's like, you know, this idea that if you're paying a bank a mortgage that you in some way own that house, that is a fallacy. You do not own the house, the bank does. And if and when you choose to pay it off, if you are able to pay it off, then you own the house. But it's just like, it's like everything is kind of borrowed. And so to live by other people's rules, to live in alignment with what other people want from you, is doing yourself an injustice in your authenticity, in your expression of life and enjoyment and what you want to achieve and what your goals are and how you define the meaning behind why you want those goals. And I'm sitting here on an island in the Atlantic Ocean, just thinking about all this stuff because I am a father of 2 children, and I catch myself, you know, it's like you feel the role of being a parent and wanting what's best for your children, but who am I to say to them what's best for them? It's a weird thing to contend with, especially if you have high moral standards and you value autonomy. Now, there are certain situations where you are concerned for their well-being and safety, and as someone who has greater life experience than they do, you can paint a picture of potential outcomes and express that to them. And if things get a little disjointed, then, you know, you have to protect them from doing something potentially harmful, like, you know, being careless with extremely sharp kitchen knives. That could be extremely catastrophic, and it could happen very quickly. Or anything to do with water, swimming pools, ocean. It takes 3 seconds and done, drowning, dead, you know? And everybody's like, it's never gonna happen to me or whatever. And that's insane to think, because shit fucking happens all the time. And you probably drive, you probably have a car and drive constantly. And that is crazy fucking shit. We all do this all the time. We just strap them in, fucking, woo, hope for the best. But no one really thinks about it. But there are people that die every fucking day. If you've ever lived in any major city, you know the insanity that is the highway system in the United States or around the world. Like, it is just fucking bonkers to me. But it's this carefree attitude that so many people have about the choices that they make, and then the influence that that has on other people. And my point is that I think it's important as parents to educate first and foremost by offering up different perspectives, by offering up possible outcomes to different solutions, to be able to paint options for children to be able to explore on their own. Life experience is accumulated over time through putting yourself out there in different environments, speaking with different people, different contexts, different situations, and you have to get out into the world in order to experience them. You can't live it through a textbook. And so I know it may seem like I kind of went off this whole track and I don't even whatever, but it all does come down to doing the work that will provide you with clarity and then choosing based on the things that resonate deeply with you, not resonating in a way that it's like you're not doing it for other people. That's crazy because it doesn't end well. It never ends well. When you give up something for someone else, they will eventually die. You will be stuck holding the fucking law degree, practicing, or the medical degree, or whatever it is. And it may end up working really, really, really well for you. It may be something that you just absolutely love. And that is amazing. Or you could learn to love something that maybe initially you didn't, and you only did it for your parents, or you did it for other reasons. It could be religious reasons, or whatever. I just have been thinking about this a lot as it relates to my two children and the type of parent that I want to be and that I am currently. And putting conscious thought into all of this is an important exercise because it provides you with the answers that you may be seeking that you didn't know that you were seeking. So thinking about it as a possible outcome, like if I teach my children this, what are the possible outcomes associated with it? And then if I don't teach my kids this, what are the possible outcomes associated with it? All I know is that it's a wild ride. And giving up autonomy is a surefire way to end up feeling miserable, feeling overwhelmed, feeling disjointed, feeling uneasy in your skin because you feel like you're battling some internal struggle that you never knew you had. It's an interesting thing to reflect deeply on your life situation in the present moment and ask yourself questions that will hopefully shape an outcome that is either deepening or expanding into other possibilities for you that you didn't even consider before. So it's an interesting challenge that I propose to you in this moment to think about your life situation and think about the things that you're doing on a daily basis, because most of us are doing the same fucking shit every day. Every day you're doing the same shit. Now you may have a more interesting job that is more dynamic, like not interesting in that it's not all, I misspoke. I guess what I'm saying is that, like, for example, now I'm even backtracking on it. Haha, this is insane, thinking out loud here. I was gonna say a police officer, right? Or a firefighter, right? But at its core, you're still doing the same fucking shit. Even if you're working on different cases and it's different, you're still doing the same thing. Now, this may be very different for an accountant who's dealing with numbers all day, and you are just literally dealing with numbers all day, and whether it's company B or company C, it's like, who fucking cares? Maybe a social worker, it's more dynamic. Or if you are doing a job that requires you to be in different locations every day. But ultimately, the basis of that job is still the same. So, we're still doing the same shit every day. And it's like, do you want to be doing that for the rest of your life? I hope so, because that's the path that you're on. Most of us are on that path. And it should be a path that you're on that you want to do. You should want to do the thing that you're doing now. Because if you don't, then you need to be real clear about why and what you're going to do next. Because you don't want to be that 20-year, 30-year cycle of just doing the same shit and never feeling quite satisfied, still being hungry, but still can't break away. And it's like so many companies strategically pay their employees just enough not to quit, just enough to stay trapped in the rat race, so that it's like a slow creep of expenses that happen, and you're basically a prisoner of your own making, because you don't have enough to quote unquote retire, and you have enough to be able to afford to do the things that you think are important to you and that you want to be doing in that moment. And you have your mortgage, you have your cars, you have all the fucking toys, and maybe you are doing really well and you have your second or third home, and it's like you barely even go to the one, and it's expensive, but it's like somehow you can't quite break free of it. That's a lack in clarity. That's a lack in, unless you're filthy fucking rich and it doesn't matter. But even then, it's like more problems, more shit to deal with. And I think those who have figured this out really understand that less is more. Quality over quantity, creating substance in everything that we do has greater reward, greater meaning in our life. And so aligned action is one of the most important things to be grounded on and to have clarity on, because it is the path that you take to get you to wherever it is that you want to go. It's a wild, wild concept to think that the outcome of your education is a concept that so few people really get clarity on before they embark on it. And it's such a rushed thing. And why rush? What is the purpose of going through all of this, not having any time to discover who you, it's like hurry up and die already. You want to be engaged in life, present, fully alive, and in control. You don't want to feel like you're spinning out of control because you lack the clarity, you lack the vision for your future self, so much that you are willing to give up something that you don't even know is a possibility for you. Which is what happens when you are not focused on your identity as a vessel for carrying you through time. And maybe this is exactly what you need to hear right now. Maybe you are in a place in your life where you're like, oh, fuck. I really don't enjoy what I'm doing on a daily basis. Oof, I just heard a fucking bone crack in my neck. Jesus. Maybe I'm feeling more frustrated than I would like to be, and the reason is because I'm doing something I don't want to be doing every day. And maybe I just haven't thought of it that way. And maybe this conversation is exactly what you need to hear right now. And if that's the case, I really do hope you take action. Any action is better than no action. And you have nothing to lose. You have everything to lose by not taking action, if this is you. If you don't take action now, someone else will force that action upon you. Whether it's you staying exactly where you are, or you choosing for yourself to leap into the unknown and take a risk. And it may cost you. It may be tumultuous for a little while. It may create uncertainty and, in fact, derail this idea of your life that you are holding on to. But if it was never your idea to begin with, if it's simply a reaction to your circumstance, your upbringing, years of continuous support and encouragement by people who you respect and love, and drive you to a point that you are now a grown person with other responsibilities, and yet there's a void in your life that you can't quite label, but you know is present. It's like something that you know is just not correct inside your body. The risk of not taking action now is far greater than any possible negative outcome. We are all ultimately responsible for ourselves. We have to be. We cannot rely on anyone. We have to take extreme ownership over our life. It's not to say that people are not there for one another and supporting each other and helping when, you know, a friend needs help and all of this. Of course, you want to be there for everyone. But you need to be there for yourself first, because if you're not, then it's a slippery slope into other people's territory and other people's idea of what they think is right for you, even as adults. And this happens especially as new parents have their kids. Everybody's a fucking expert in something. Even people who have never had children. It's like, oh, you should do this or that. Or it's like, and people just can't help themselves. It's amazing. And even if it is good advice, it doesn't often come off as something that people are ready to hear in that moment. I want to say I really appreciate and I'm so grateful for everyone who drops in to these conversations and engages with the content that I'm producing. And I'm doing it for you. I want to connect with you more deeply, to be able to support you and leverage my life experience with the clarity that I've created for myself, the momentum, the power that I have within is all transferable. It's a system that you can live inside. It's something that is duplicatable, grammar, little struggle there. I don't know if that was a word or not. And I think it's a word, duplicatable. Duplicatable. And so I am just on this wild journey of pivoting from one thing to what I'm doing now, and am resonating so deeply with this commitment that I have for you, for people that are in need of support, that are looking to amplify their life in a meaningful way, to be able to save on time, save on the mistakes that other people have made, and come together in creating a community to be able to, again, empower and uplift people and guide them in whatever direction they want to be guided in. It's not about me, it's about discovering what's alive in you and what you want out of life and ensuring you get there through accountability, through systems, through structure, through conversation, through alignment, through momentum, through knowledge and wisdom. And that's what I do with everyday action. I encourage people to take action in a meaningful way. And on that note, if you found this conversation meaningful, and if you found value in what I have shared with you today, please do me a favor and subscribe to this channel. Read the show notes, click on the everydayactioncoach.com/live link. Join us in Everyday Action, the community where we meet every Thursday and go deep into training and coaching. It's a great opportunity to join in live coaching and be part of something bigger than yourself. Thank you so much for dropping in on this glorious afternoon, and I will see you on Thursday for Everyday Action Live. Peace.